Hello, my name is Emilia. If you're new, I live on the Swedish countryside. This is my cottage garden that I'm currently sprucing up, giving some love. I created this native pollinator island and it's an ongoing project. I thought today I was gonna plant a magnolia and a peony because they need to get in the ground. They're still in the pots, and I thought this would be a perfect place because this is quite protected from wind and it does get sun all day. They do both like a protected but full sun area. So this magnolia is called stellata. It grows up to 2.5 meters. It's gonna be maybe like this. I'm like 180, so maybe something like this. So it's not, huge. I think will be a perfect space here. I'm gonna have the peony right here, filling this part of this bed up. I just love the look of the cabin. I want to have it as open as possible. So having this a little bit to the side here is gonna be perfect. This is actually like a sand that we use for our patio. I accidentally dumped it here when I fell a little bit with the wheelbarrow last fall, and I was just whatever, The soil looks incredible here. I think I can hear a little bird's nest in here next to me in the spirea. Yeah, definitely. Oh. We had babies in this well here, and I can just hear them like flopping around their wings. They sounded a little bit stressed, so I got really stressed because I thought it was so hot in there. So I added like an umbrella to shade it, and then I googled and it was saying that maybe the babies are stuck in there. I tied knots on like a rope, like a jute twine that they can climb up on. Bird babies are really good climbers. I lowered down the string and I could hear like hissing. I just knew that the babies were quite high up, that they could climb up, and I think they did because the day after it was quiet, the parents weren't there, and I knew that they had flown their nests, so I was so happy about it. And then we pulled up the string after a couple of days, and there was like a dead grasshopper that the parents had been feeding the babies with, along with like some bird poop. So I know it worked, and I feel so happy about saving those little babies and the parents from the distress. I could just tell that it was just stressed, I don't know. And it makes me so happy that the parents, if it's the same parents, I don't know that for sure, but if they are, I feel like they feel safe here. They know I'm not a threat. And I want these birds here. That's why I'm creating this sort of native, like, protected area for them, and I feed them in the winter. I try to make sure there's biodiversity and like bugs for them to eat and all of that. So it makes me really happy. Alright, so I dug a hole that is about, I don't know, maybe 50 centimeters in diameter. The soil is beautiful, but I am gonna mix in some rhododendron soil that has a higher HP, because magnolias like the soil to be slightly more acidic. A handful of fertilizer. I'm gonna plant the magnolia right at soil level, and they don't like their roots to be disturbed. So that's why you don't want to move it around. You don't want to accidentally step on the ground around it. It's pretty sensitive. Oh, there's a tractor. So I'm gonna be careful, and I don't want to push on it too much. Just enough that I know that it's secured, and then I'm gonna add like a stick or something here. I'm gonna mulch with tree bark mulch. It's slightly acidic and retain moisture. Just keep off the stem. Water it straight away and keep the soil quite moist during the first season. And magnolia doesn't want to dry out when it's been planted the first season or so. Okay, so while I'm here, I'm gonna plant this peony. And this one doesn't have a name. It just says season's favorites. But it's like a dusty pink, sort of. It grows about 1 meter, not too tall. Can handle sun and part shade. The most important thing with peonies when it comes to planting is whether or not it's in a pot or if it's bare rooted. If it's in a pot, then you want to plant it right at the surface level as it is in the pot. It's already, you know, pre-grown like it's supposed to be. But if you have a bare root, you want to bury the eyes about 3 to 5 centimeters underneath the soil level. But in this case, it's in a pot. I'm just gonna plant it right at the surface level. But I do need to sort of loosen up the soil and amend it a little bit. Clay heavy, and peony is like quite a light and fluffy, very nutritious soil. So I'm gonna mix in some fertilizer and a bucket of planting soil here. If I had bone meal, I would have used that, but I only have blood meal and it's not quite the same thing. But this fertilizer is like an all-around fertilizer. And I'll just pour this in. Oops. I try to be really careful. That's looking good. No ants. So the same thing here, water it in really well so that the soil settles. It has, you know, we can pick up all the nutrients. Let that sink in a little bit. You can see where it's sinking down way slower on the sides here, where I haven't loosened up the soil. Here is the Magnolia. It looks like this. White, super pretty. It's gonna be beautiful against the red cabin with the white details. And here is the peony. Looking like this. Good morning, it's a new day. Today I have a couple of flowers to plant and my lilac, and I need to get the lilac in the ground. I just haven't found the right spot for it. But honestly, it's a lilac. You can have it everywhere. A tray full of beautiful, gorgeous flowers. Gorgeous dahlia. It's called Velvet Crush. Deep burgundy, purple leaves. A little bit green under here. But here, look at this flower. Oh, I can wait to see this in full bloom. And then here we have Marguerite daisies. These one I don't know exactly the name of. And then here we got lantana called, let's see, Calippo Vintage. I'm gonna show you a picture of them in full bloom. So this is what they look like, a mix of yellow and pink. And then I have my heliotrope finally that my mom sewed for me. I got all of these from my mom, by the way. So generous. So here I have 4 heliotrope that I'm gonna plant in my pollinator perennial garden, as well as this tall verbena, I think it's called. It's a verbena, but it's like this giant verbena. I'm gonna work on getting these plants in this bed first. This is my cottage garden. The plan is to have it a perennial bed, but I'm working on it. I do have a couple of perennials, native flowers, pollinator-friendly flowers, but I also have annuals, or well, tubes and annuals. So I have dahlias here to fill out this space here, and they kind of flop down and then come back up. So they're looking a little bit funny, but I'm just gonna leave it. So here I have white bluebell, a trio, border nepeta, and then I have a bunch of weeds in here that I need to weed, but I'm gonna plant everything first. Then I have some violas, forget-me-not. Over here I have pincushion flowers, etc. I'm gonna move these 2 echinacea that I have here. They don't really thrive in this space, so I'm gonna move them a little bit over here where the soil is a little bit more loose. And then I have actually 3 or 4 more echinacea to plant. These ones are Paradiso yellow. These are like a pink color. So it's gonna be nice to add some heliotrope. So the heliotrope, I'm thinking they could come from like right here, going in front of these grass, something like that. And then I had the verbena. I just watered it, it was so dry. and it's root bound as well. Maybe a perfect place would be like right here. And then these smaller echinacea, I'm not sure yet, and they are just tiny. So this one has some size to it. These ones are super tiny, but I need to plant them because this gets so dry all the time. So they're called starlight. Oh, you can just see all the weeds. That's why I need to fill it up with annuals. Maybe petunias or something that will really fill out this for this year. But yeah, you have seen me plant all of the things in this bed. You can see how much the grass has grown. Well, the rose and the clematis was already here, but all of the rest of the things. This is a new bed for this year. But yeah, so much to do still. See that bumblebee right there? That is the exact reason why I save patches of clover in the grass when I'm cutting. So keep the clover in your grass. It also helps frogs, which eats your slugs and all of that. I'm gonna plant the verbena. Oh, this area is so weedy. Just loosen it up a little bit. As for these echinaceas, I think I would like to plant them like right here. Oof, this one barely has any roots. All right, I'm just gonna plant them and we'll see what happens. Oh, no, there was a bulb right there. I'm gonna pop it in again. Forgot about that I planted spring bulbs in here. Okay, I'm gonna water it in. The deer was here again. I have one deer, probably female, eating my produce. Not super fun. It gets scared when we're outside. But it ate all my chard, my beets, strawberry plants, my rose buds, all of it. So it's not fun to have her around. But honestly, it's nature. What can you do? They were probably here first, so we don't do anything about it. She barks like really loudly and then runs away, probably warning her kid somewhere. I'm not gonna have time to weed anymore or mulch today, so that's gonna have to be tomorrow. It is so cute. It's like pink and blue, baby blue. Here is an orbitea, soft purple color. It's a ground cover. Oh, it's all filling in so nicely. Then this bed here, and my God, does this need attending to. But here I do have a bunch of perennials and shrubs and evergreens and all of that. I am really working on this one, and I have alliums and a lot of bulbs. In here you can still see the remnants of the tulips that I really want to cut back, but I'm working on filling out this bed so much that it covers like the foliage of the spent tulips, but they need that energy. The leaves are like still super green and is like soaking up all of that to go into the bulbs. The lantanas, I know they don't get super tall, so I'm probably gonna place them like in the front here. How tall does a Velvet Crush dahlia get? Oh, so it's quite short, 35 to 55, but there is sort of missing this element over here maybe. I have a white dahlia here, opera white. I'm thinking that I would like to place it like right here, or maybe here. I'm gonna move this nepeta too. These are like too similar in structure, I don't know. Then we have these gorgeous daisies, like a pop of color. Where do I want that? Because I want to have the lantanas here, I think. That's gonna be plenty of color. So like going around here, like that. And then we have grass here. It's gonna fill out this area. But isn't the nepeta such a gorgeous display of color? Maybe like here is really seriously lacking color. Oh, it's so hard. Maybe in here. Can you see that? I don't know. Why is this so hard? Alright, so I've decided. I'm gonna plant the dahlia over there and the lantanas over here. I didn't feel the marguerites right here, and I think that will be a gorgeous pop of color over on that bed we just worked on, and those colors will match so beautifully with the dahlias and all of that. I just need to work on getting in this like chartreuse and burgundy colors over in that bed as well, but that's a work in progress, you know. It's a perennial native pollinator bed and they will be really gorgeous. I'm gonna show you after this where I'm gonna plant them. I wanna expand this bed. It's gonna be much bigger, so I'm gonna move things and, you know, expand. And there are so many flowers in here that are just for this year, for my wedding. Like this baby's breath and this Orleia. I love Orleia. Let's get these planted. I'm thinking maybe I could just move it a little bit so they both have plenty of space. But I moved the upper white dahlia to here and I topped it so it's gonna branch out. You can see here where it's like coming out on each side. So it's gonna be a little shorter and bushier right here, full of blooms. You can see 2 of the blooms here already. Here is the dahlia. So here are the 4 lantanas. Here are the heliotropes that we planted today. They're gonna be a nice foreground to these grasses. Here I was gonna plant the marguerite. They were so pretty, like one here and one here. But I haven't planted anything because there is a dead, huge root here. And it's full of, not termites, we don't have termites here in Sweden, but these tiny like red ants. And that was the same ants in here. So they're kind of eating on the roots, so I don't want to plant anything here. We're gonna cut this out. You can see here all the little red ants. Maybe you can't see it, but so we're gonna cut it right here with a saw and just remove this piece. So I can plant something else in here. I placed them right here. Let me show you. Wow, they just really pop right here. And these has a little bit same of the pink as forget-me-nots do, and we have them over here as well, so I think that's gonna draw the eye. Then we have white bluebell on each side here. Yeah, gorgeous. I need to weed and trim in this bed too. I'm just gonna show you real quick an update on how it's looking. So my hostas are flowering this beautiful like vintage purple color, and here you can see the hosta in full bloom. This color is amazing. Wow, together with these variegated leaves, just so much weeds here. Gardening keeps you busy and on your toes all the time, but that's how it is also with like new gardens. Fun video. I love this, getting things in the soil. It's gonna be so pretty. I'm just gonna put it out there. Please subscribe now to see all of this in full bloom in a couple of weeks. I got a couple of more flowers. I felt like I needed like a bright pop of pink that really works with both cool and warm colors. That's really cute. I love that little pop right there. For the other 2, I'm thinking somewhere around here. They look so beautiful with this dahlia. Maybe I should have planted this one a little bit to the left. This is what they look like up close. And then look at this stunning dahlia. Wow. And then over here we've got these, let's see, Goldilocks, I think it's called. I thought they would fill out this area, would look so nice, but they do thrive in more shadier spots. And it can work as a perennial or biennial if it's in a shadier spot. All right, I decided on placing them here behind the dahlias. The dahlias will shade them the whole morning. And then like midday, afternoon, they will get shaded by these trees. And they are extremely dry, so I need to water them straight away. It's just a pretty ground cover, the way it's like chartreuse, a little bit of like yellow almost. So I kind of want to train them growing to the sides. It actually really pops in here, even though it's in the shade. I've been so unsure, like back and forth, where to place this lilac. I don't know why, really. Maybe I'm just like overthinking stuff, but I think I'm gonna place it just right here. There's like an empty space here. I initially wanted something like more low growing so that it won't shade out the blueberries here. And I wasn't really sure what was gonna happen to this big arborvitae, like a thuja tree that was struggling, but I think it's like coming back. We just need to like trim out a little bit of dead branches and clear out under here. Here I'm gonna have like a greenhouse or outdoor kitchen in the future. And here are my blueberries. Over here is my vegetable garden. And this is an arborvitae hedge that is also struggling a bit. I don't know why. Very temporary compost bins. And we're gonna make this into a permanent compost bay area that will have like a wall here so that you can see it with like a little roof and stuff. And then in the far back corner over here, I'm gonna add a tree of some sort, maybe a crab apple or something. So they're gonna be lilacs here and then a lilac here. I think that's gonna like bring it together, like frame it in. I could also like limit up to a tree in the future. It's an Ludwigsbat variety. It looks like this. All right, the camera died and it's getting really windy and I'm hungry. But I mixed in some planting soil, some fertilizer. So now I'm gonna plant it. The camera died again. And it's actually a couple of days later. But it's looking pretty good. And here's a little update, what it's looking like. I haven't really been able to take care of the garden because I've been busy with my wedding. But it's so gorgeous, this dahlia. And the petunia is looking good. The lantana is flowering beautifully. Here's another petunia. All day yesterday I was here in this bed clearing weeds, just taking care of everything. It was a mess in here, but I've lost a couple of heliotropes, but I'm gonna get some more from my mom. I've also kind of lost half of this verbena, but you can see here a little bud. So it's coming back. The dahlia is budding. It's getting quite big here. And the nepeta is flowering beautifully. The forget-me-nots are just amazing. Stunning. Everything is so gorgeous, especially when everything is weeded. And here is the first viola blooming in this bed. This is such a gorgeous display of these yellow dahlias here. I love it. They're so cute, like little pom-poms. And some lilies. Beautiful. And I can actually hear some insect nestling in here. I can't really see it, but I can hear it. That's so nice that they're using this space to overwinter. Then the craziest thing, here are my hydrangeas. And I was just standing here looking at them and seeing something peeking up behind here. And I was like, is this a white bluebell? And yes, it is. And it's the exact same variety. It's called Alba, that I planted in my native garden. This one that I've been weeding on. It is absolutely crazy. We have never seen this here before, but we also usually come and like trim all around here. So I don't know if that's why, but look at it. It's exact same variety. I did not know it was here, but yeah, that's a proof that it's a native flower. That's awesome. Ah, look at this. Yeah, we're just tugging away on all of the garden chores. Today I'm in the vegetable garden, and that is a whole other video. I just wanted to end this video and say thank you so much for watching. I'm actually quite relieved about the wedding being over. It was the most amazing thing ever in my life, and I'm so joyful and at peace somehow. But now I'm just excited to, you know, get into the garden and doing the rest of the projects that we have. So subscribe to see that. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!